Hey everyone, Dan here. Before we get into it, if you enjoy these videos, please hit the like and subscribe button. It helps a lot. And also keep in mind that these are my own thoughts, opinions, and ideas. These are not meant to be, nor should you take them as investment or trading advice in any way, shape, or form. Do your own due diligence, put in the work for yourself, and make your decisions based on that. Enjoy. Alright folks, here we are after market close on Monday, November 22nd. We're going to take a look at SoFi. So SoFi having an absolute atrocious day today, down almost 8%. And it kind of feels like one of those times when it's just bad news after bad news after bad news coming in, or at least let's call it news that's perceived poorly by the market over and over and over again since earnings. So obviously washing away just much of the gains that have been had in the last month or two. And today, I mean, part of the equation here, I think, was the entire market just absolutely tanked during power hour. And SoFi just kind of got ahead of the curve on that. I mean, luckily, the thing that I was sort of watching and kind of had my fingers crossed for was that SoFi wasn't going to additionally tank along with the market here toward the end of the day. So thankfully, that didn't happen because that I could have very easily, seen it going down closer to 18 if it had kind of followed where that market was going. But luckily, it just sort of flatlined out here near-ish to the VWAP. But yeah, just getting absolutely crushed today. And if we take a look at the daily, so just when I had taken away these support and resistance levels down here, we get hit with this. And obviously we've fallen through this at this point, so we can pop that off. That is not going to be our saving grace. And let's see where we ended up at this point. So let's just look at the previous price action here, not even worry about where we finished today. So looking right around here, 1829 would be the next obvious level to me. So pretty close to where we came in today on the low. What was the low today? Low was 1833. So aside from that, if we come and look back where we were before then, if we need additional support zones, there's not a lot. Let's see, maybe this is in the 17s, around 1752, I would say at this point, and then about 1681. Yeah, that's not bad. So that's what I would look at for the time being, but it needs to start basically consolidating and building a base. I'm not saying anything like earth-changing here. it's just a fact. As we were looking at in a previous video, all of these sort of movements, and then it would consolidate and move, and then it would consolidate and move, and now it's done this like really frantic kind of movement, and just hasn't taken any time to consolidate. There's like this brief consolidation here, and then obviously a strong move down. But basically what I would look for it to do is start to build a base along one of these levels, 1829, 1752, 1681, something there. If it does sort of make a swing back to the upside, then, building a base around 1984, 2058, 2132, something like that, to the upside, if there's a positive catalyst that comes through and swings things in that direction. But for the time being, it's in a bit of a conundrum, if you will. Getting very close to the MA as well. I think it was at some point on last week's video when I kind of chuckled and said, well, I hope it doesn't have to come down and test support at the 180 MA because it's way down in the 17s. Well, here we are. Knocking on the door. And so it goes. I mean, I wasn't even like day trading or swing trading SoFi today, and I had equally an atrocious day. I mean, it was just this plummet, this plummet earlier in the day with the NASDAQ, and then the entire market plummeting later in the day. I mean, it was just a pretty rough one. I feel like it's not an accurate reflection. Well, this minus 1.26, that's pretty rough. But this like minus 0.32 and plus 0.08 on the Dow, it feels like is not a super accurate reflection of probably what happened in a lot of people's accounts today, unless they purely are just buying index funds, which is probably not you if you're watching this video. But in any case, there's the 180 MA for you. As you would guess, the EMAs are all like, they're strangely enough on the daily here, these EMAs are still in a bullish formation. But at this point, it's treating this 34 EMA, which is in the middle, as resistance, and completely lost support of the 50. That was spending the day around 1967. I don't even know if it spent much time around there today. Not really, no. So, yeah. We're just going to have to wait. I mean, just like I said in last week's video, and I'm sorry if it feels like I'm not saying much, but I'm just not going to come in here and like claim to have a crystal ball and know the future until a trend starts to take shape. And I do think that the next best thing to happen here, short of a catalyst, is that it just starts to consolidate and build a base somewhere, and then we can more clearly identify a move coming from that. I mean, if you kind of look back in time, which is always, the hindsight is 2020. I almost said 50-50 for some reason, but it was building this base or this range, right? And it had this crazy movement around earnings, but essentially it was working itself into this range here, and then where it made its strong move after it finished consolidating there was to the downside. So now I think we need another one of those, and if it has an erratic day or two outside of that zone, then so be it. This was the equivalent of that. But I know this gets frustrating for people, both when the stock is selling off and then when I'm making a video and just saying like we have to wait for the next clear movement, because I don't know where the floor is. I think that these are the next logical support zones, but if they'll hold, I don't know. I think that the MA should offer some support if it's needed, but you just don't know how things are going to react. You don't know what macro forces are going to come in. You don't know if there's going to be additional news that's taken poorly by the market. So from a sort of purely chart perspective, like I'm saying, the next best thing is to look for some sideways move. That's going to take days and days to develop. So the other end of the thing, or the other side of that, is on, I guess, the best case scenario for the bulls is something like the bank charter comes out, right? And there's been all of this recent selling pressure. You'll see over here in Ortex, actually, by this point, the rolling 1 month has turned red. So we're down over 3% over the last month. And this could give the market a chance, an opportunity to react to that in a very, very positive light if something like the bank charter comes through. So I don't know what other really strong catalyst would be there at this point. I know a lot of folks are talking about the Super Bowl and that's going to be a big catalyst. I don't know. We'll have to see, but that one is less clear to me. But yeah, that's kind of what I'm looking for, short of bank charter news and that being seen as really, really positive by the markets. I'm looking for it to start building a base, and it hasn't here, right? Since it started to sell them. Like I said, that's when it starts to feel like it's moving slowly, because it's going to take days and days and days to build a base. And especially in a week like this week, where we really only have like 3.5 trading days. So, this could be one of those times where it's like, a bit spotty on whether or not I do an everyday SoFi video. Obviously today I did, because they're down almost 8%. So that's a big movement to come in and sort of talk about. But, if we just start to kind of move sideways, I might pop in here and there and kind of talk about anything interesting that's happening, or at least sort of re-mention that this is what building a base looks like, and this is sort of getting us ready for our next big move. And also, the bigger the base, the bigger the move. So if we want another test of $25, which is really what I would like to see here in the near future, then building a base for, I don't know, much of December, for instance, might not be the worst situation in the world. If it then breaks to the upside, of course. If it breaks to the downside, then the bigger the base, the bigger the move could be going against you as a bull. But in any case, I know this is a lot of chitter chatter, but I know, because we were here through this atrocious sell-off, right? And all of the feelings and whatnot, the people share in the comments, I feel like I have a good sense of sort of where people's heads tend to be at when this type of motion takes place. And so that's why I'm talking through it in this sort of way. Let's flip over to the data. Ortex, which just for full disclosure, if anyone tunes in because they like to see what Ortex has, I'm actually, for the time being, not going to renew my subscription to Ortex. I feel like I could get like this, you can get from anywhere. The news feed you can get from anywhere. Unusual Whales has it, for example. This I can get from Tip Ranks. And the insider stuff is like, yeah, so. But I mostly just use it for the short data, and to me it just doesn't seem to be worth the cost at this point. So you're going to see that disappear in a bit, but what we'll start looking at, which is what we used to do before I had gotten into Ortex, was look at iBorrowDesk, and we'll look and see what's happening at iBorrowDesk, and hopefully that feed from Interactive Brokers is still working. I haven't checked on it in a while, but in any case, that's just to give you a heads up. That'll happen toward the end of this month. But the short data, as per Ortex estimates, up a little over 1% today. So shorts also aren't coming in. I don't know if for whatever reason this just isn't on their radar, or I don't know if maybe they are in fear that the bank charter is going to come and be released, and that's going to spur a rally, and they don't want to get caught in the midst of it. I don't know, obviously, but those are just a couple of possible points of speculation. On the flow today, I pulled this up just to take a look. Fitting my criteria here, nothing registered today for SoFi. So this is still from last Friday, this bearish flow. But that's, there's relatively bullish flow since 11/11, but it's been pretty spotty is basically the story here. It's just been spotty. Slightly more bear premium than bull premium at the moment, but pretty just split down the middle. And like I had said in last week's video, when we looked at this, I kind of think that many folks who are looking at or are waiting to play SoFi are just kind of trying to figure out which way it's going to go. So we're essentially doing the same thing. So if you're looking for a crystal ball, you're looking for somebody to hype it and say it's definitely going this way, it's definitely going that way, and just watch that channel. I'm not going to turn into that. That's not my thing. That's not my shtick. I'm just, well, you've heard it this whole video and any other videos you watched before, but that's where I see it, kind of waiting and seeing. So again, if the videos become sort of spotty while we maybe build a base here, or maybe while nothing really tremendous is happening in the price, then that could be a good thing, because that could mean that we're just kind of in a boring stage, building a base and waiting for the next move to come in. So just be aware, as I had talked about several weeks ago, not emphatically sticking to this I'm doing a SoFi video every single day sort of mentality as I was previously. When there's periods of lulls, I want to be able to explore other areas. I'll certainly continue to keep tabs on and update SoFi as interesting things happen. So let's see where that takes us. But yeah, in any case, my Monday didn't get off to a great start, to be honest, in the trading week. I tried to control my losses. That was my big mantra of the day. I was working really hard at it, thought I was doing a good job, and then I just got absolutely shellacked in Power Hour because of that atrocious sell-off. So that's just full disclosure. So if you also got smacked today, you're not alone. All right, folks. In any case, I certainly appreciate you watching, and I will see you in the next video.